Hey, what's up, friends? You got Gypsy back here today, bringing you my week 2 match in the CFA season 3. I'm pretty sick. I've got a bit of a flu, so I do apologize if this narration is kind of lackluster. I won't be sort of talking for too long because, my voice is kind of barely here as it is. But I figured I'd give you guys the match because I don't want it to let it like drag on. I don't know that I haven't uploaded in a few days, so here we are with the match versus Noah. Really cool dude, and he has a crazy strong team. Look at this man's like, oh, this is like literally like a team you see. You got the Bishop, Life for Bishop, you got the Fat Rocks Chomp, Mega Main, Specs Keldeo, Life for Bladdy, like AV Metagross. Like, look at this fucking OU squad, man. Anyway, it's all good. Definitely, he drafted a really powerful, threatening team. So definitely exciting to go up against. And I'll just go over the team that I brought. So first up, we've got AV Slowbro. The idea behind this is to easily wall Keldeo, or standard Keldeo, that is. And then we have like being able to take Dracos from Laddie is important. Obviously I have Jirachi, but he also has a Bishop, which he could make smart doubles trying to catch my Jirachi. Expecting Jirachi to come in on Laddies, Dracos and such, so having a secondary switch into Laddies is pretty important. I can also take hits from his Mega Manetric quite handily, just with my Assault Vest and investment, which is pretty nice. I still do have a fair bit of defensive investment, allowing me to take stuff like Outrages and Earthquakes from Garchomp, even a knockoff from Bishop, barring a banded variant. It's pretty nice. Slowbro just for attacks, obviously, because I'm Assault Vest. Then we have my Mega Latias, which is a Reflect type set this week, rocking HP Fighting for the Bishop. If he's low kick and he predicts my Reflect type, well then, nothing I can do about that. But yeah, Bishop definitely a threat to my team. I've got HP Fighting, as I said, and then I have this battle took place a long time ago. I have Ice Beam on this set as well, so that allows me to kill Garchomp and deal reasonable damage to Laddie. Obviously, Metagross is a bit of an issue, but I can Reflect type it, allowing him to, not so effectively 1v1 me, and eventually switch out. Even if he's carrying Pursuit, I can just play mind games until I can train him into thinking that I'm going to stay in, and then I can switch out into something that can handle it. So then we have Pillar Wine. A very, very interesting set this week. Well, the EV spread is very complicated. I'm not going to show it, but basically I'm pretty bulky, pretty specially defensive, but I do have enough attack to guarantee kills on certain mons. I've got Icicle Spear. This means that if he's like a Yachi variant of Garchomp, I will be able to take him out, because the first Icicle Spear will pop the Yachi, and the ones that follow will deal max damage. So very nice Pillar One set. Also able to take on the Latios, surprisingly, because I am so especially defensive with this set. So a pretty nice set. Obviously checks the Mega Manetric quite nicely too, and allows me to go to Rocks, which is important. And then we have Jirachi, a Cobra variant set this week with Drain Punch to handle Weaver. Bishop, as I said, Bishop is a big threat to the team. As you guys can see, +2 Bishop really just runs through my team. So rocking the Cobra Berry for that specifically. A pretty specially defensive set this week. Like I said, I needed to be able to take hits from Laddie somehow, and Slowbro, I don't want him to be pressured by all of his special attackers. Also takes hits from the Mega Manetric quite nicely as well. Then we have a modest Altarias with enough defensive investment to live a hit from Garchomp. I've got Dark Pulse for the Metagross and the Laddie, T-Bolt for just general spamming, and Grass Knot. He had a hit, but he had some bulky ground or bulky water on his team where Grass Knot was more useful than HPI, so hence why I'm running Grass Knot. I forget them on because this happened a while ago. And then we have Adamant or Naughty Lucario. Naughty Nature Lucario, I think it is. Life Orb. I got Vacuum Wave for Bishop if it gets out of control +2, because Bishop can actually kill Lucario if it's like Adamant Life Orb and gets like a high enough roll, I think, or even a crit. Definitely a crit can take me out at +2 with Sucker Punch. So having Vacuum Wave there is just coming through in the clutch if I need to. So we'll jump into the battle. I'm going to lead off with my Pillar Swine as he leads off with his Minetric. He switches out right here. As I get up my Stealth Rocks, he just goes into his Keldeo. Fair play on his part, Keldeo would have been able to tank an EQ, even if it was like the standard spec set or something like that. I'm just going to switch right out here and go into my Slowbro as he fires off a Toxic. So I see Toxic and like I'm thinking, oh, okay, you know, nice bring, fair play. He's just going to right here click Protect. And I'm like, okay. So we got some Toxic stalling going on our hands. Okay. So that's a bit of an irritation for sure. Very nice set on his part. He then reveals sub. So yeah, my man brought the straight counter to Slowbro, which is very nice. Obviously it doesn't counter Slowbro, but the fact that I'm poisoned means that my effectiveness in 1v1ing this Keldeo is severely reduced. However, the fact that he's carrying Protect and Sub means that, and Toxic means that he's likely carrying Scald as his last move, or something of that nature. I can eventually stall out his Scalds by pivoting between Irachi and Slowbro, forcing him to use up his Scalds on Slowbro, who will easily tank them and get back his health with the Regenerator. I can pass wishes to and from Jirachi into Slowbro, and I also have Altarias to tank Scalds if I need to. So once all his Scalds have been used up, Jirachi beats him. Once all his Toxics are used up, Mega Lati beats him. Thunderous can also take a hit and T-Bolt if I need to. But this Keldeo is definitely looking threatening. But we do have Rocks up, which is nice to have in the early game. So I'm going to switch out right here and go into my Jirachi. So he goes for another Protect. As I'm now just going to go for a Protect, scouting his final move that he does reveal to be Scald. So you're going to see I'm going to switch back to Slowbro, just wanting to waste some PPs, and now he's already used 2. And this battle's going to go on for quite a bit because I'm not going to get beaten by this Keldeo. I know exactly how to outplay it, and while it is a very nice set on his part, it is not going to work because you guys are going to see. So I'm just sort of wanting him to protect and sort of forcing him to a situation where he can protect to kind of whittle down my Slowbro. And now I can just freely pivot back and forth between Rachi and Slowbro for a while. He's using up quite a few of his Scalds. Scald's only got 24 PP, so it is pretty painstakingly tedious, but he will eventually run out. And I do have Protect as well on my Rachi to, you know, assist with that. He can do this all he wants, but I could just continue pivoting out, which is very nice. And I'm just going to skip the next few turns because it does sort of drag on a bit. So he Scalds, I switch out to Raji again as he subs once more, and now I fire for Protect as he Scalds again. Now this turn he actually switches out and goes onto his Metagross. Now I'm going to make the switch right here and go into Slowbro, and this is actually great because he doesn't know I have Flamethrower, and I can click Flamethrower right now to get a decent amount of damage off. But he makes the switch back out to Keldeo, not wanting to get Skull Burnt on his Metagross. He actually reveals to me later in the match that this is a Hone Claws Metagross, especially defensive sets. So he didn't want to get the Skull Burn, which is fair enough. He goes into his Keldeo, and the cycle continues once again as Jirachi comes back out, and we can just continue this process. Gonna wish up here as he subs. He's gonna switch out now, going into Minetric as I make the switch out into Slowbro, which is pretty nice, just getting that Regenerator health back, as now I can go back out into Pillar Swine. As his Minetric fires off a Flamethrower, which is super effective and does absolutely nothing, as I can now double back out into my Thunderous. Now, the reason I did that is because I figured this is quite a defensive Keldeo. If anything, he was going to switch back out to his Keldeo there, even possibly his Garchomp, but I felt as though Keldeo was the safest switching, because if he's switching Garchomp, then it was just going to get threatened by an Ice move the next turn. So having Thunderous in versus Keldeo is very nice, and at this point I know he's going to switch out. He can't. Keldeo is a very nice win con quote unquote, for him, as it does beat Lucario potentially. Well, not really, because I'm close combat and his Skull can't beat me unless he burns me, but Kelly is a nice one for him to keep around, so I'm just going to predict him to switch out right here and just get up a substitute, which is pretty nice, but he just goes for the Protect, potentially scouting if I was a Scarf variant. I think this was, I don't mean this in a rude way because Noah's my friend, but I think this was a bit of a potential misplay on his part, because if I was to set up Thunderous and I'd gone for the nasty plot there, I could have agility next turn and beat his whole team actually, because Scald doesn't kill me. I could have been bulky Thunderous for all he knew, and Latios dies unless it's like a really bulky set to +2 Hidden Power Ice, which makes sense versus his team. T-Bolt kills everything else. Manectric can't beat me because Thunderous doesn't die to an HP Ice after a Scald because I do have bulk investment. So, but it is what it is. He's going to switch out now into his Metagross, which reveals to be a nice, specially defensive set. And so I'm just going to fire up a T-Bolt. Does a decent amount, does 40, but that damage reveals that he's definitely specially defensive, as I'm modest and max special attack Thunderous. So I'm going to go for the Dark Pulse here. So it does a decent amount, and he goes for the Ice Punch just to break my sub right there. So I'm pretty free to fire off another Dark Pulse right here. Nothing really wants to switch, and I could have gone for T-Bolt there as well, so switching in Keldeo or Bishop is not a safe place. He just sacks off the Metagross there, which is nice because now Latios has, my Mega Latios has more room to roam pretty freely against this team. In comes the Latios right here. I go into my Jirachi, trying to scout his set. He reveals Carmine. Now, this is definitely an issue because nothing my Jirachi has can beat this Latios 1v1, but he doesn't know that. For all he knows, that could be toxic. So he just switches out to his Bishop, as I just go for the Iron Head, just wanting damage. Now I go for the Drain Punch here. I could have lifted Sucker Punch because I did have Colbur Berry. I think he predicted me to be slower than his Bishop, but I am creeping a max speed Bishop, so yeah, the speed creep coming through, he may have gone for Pursuit there, or even Knock Off, predicting my switch out. We do catch him with a Drain Punch there, so that is very nice. As he now brings in his Garchomp. I'm not going to stay in with Irachi here. I'm just going to go to my Slowbros. He sets up his rocks, which is pretty nice for him. Now Slowbro doesn't have very many switch-ins left. He goes back out to his Keldeo, which was a very interesting play. I had Revealed Ice Beam though, so I guess he felt as though Keldeo was a safe switch-in, but had I clicked Psyshock, then this thing would have taken a big chunk, if not dropped. So interesting play, but Slowbro can now fire for Psyshock as he does go for the Protect. He's just getting health back. Yeah, his best play definitely overall, and forcing the situation to repeat itself. I just go for the Psyshock again, breaking his sub. But now I'm at a point where I need to switch out, obviously, because Slowbro is so important. Go out into my Rachi as he fires off a Skull once more. Doesn't get the burn this turn, and he fires off one again. He does get the burn this turn as I wish up, and this is fun. I can just stay in right here and receive the wish and go for the Drain Punch, just getting a little bit of chip, negating his leftovers. Pretty meaningless in the big scheme of things, but damage is damage. He's going to switch out here, go into Garchomp as I just wish up. I can now switch into Pillar Swine just in case he was a setup variant. Having Pillar Swine in allows me to check it, and I also get the wish back, which is very nice. So now I'm going to go for the EQ, predicting the Keldeo to come in. As you guys can see, EQ doesn't do too much, only does 28, so this is definitely like a defensive Keldeo, which is pretty cool in my opinion. As I'm going to go into my Rachi here, just to essentially wish up and sack it to the Keldeo, as he fires off a Toxic. So I get to wish up this turn, and now I'm going to go down to the burn damage. So I do have the wish up in the air, and Thunderous can receive the wish pretty comfortably at the end of this turn. And his Keldeo is pretty threatened by Thunderous, so he's just going to switch out to his Garchomp. As I go for the Grass, not predicting that. Doesn't do too much to the Chomp, but I do get the wish back, which is pretty nice. He now fires off a Stone Edge as I live due to my defensive investment, and can just hit him with a Dark Pulse, doing a decent amount of damage, putting him in guaranteed range to die to Ice Shard, to die to Vacuum Wave from the Gero, anything from my Slowbro. He just goes for the Dragon Claw there. The reason I switched out with my Thunderous is to save it as Death Fodder versus something like his Lati if I need to. need to get a safe switch into Pillar Swine. I don't want to sack him on, in the process. As Slowbro just comes in and takes the Dragon Claw damage. But the fact that he went for Dragon Claw there versus my Slowbro meant that I wanted to keep Slowbro around more. So I do just end up sacking Thunderous at that point because I recognize that like Slowbro is kind of important to take on the Keldeo once it eventually runs out of protects and subs. And I can continue pivoting. I realize that Keldeo hasn't burnt all of its skulls basically at this point, so I will need to keep playing the switching game with Mega Laddie and my Slowbro. So I did, before I checked that, I realized that Slowbro was essential to coming out on top in the end game. So I do sack off Thunderous, a play I should have made to begin with. But that's all good. And now we just go out to Lucario and finish this thing off. He goes out to Keldeo here, because he knows he can tank an extreme speed from me, which is pretty interesting. Like extreme speed did absolutely nothing, did 23%, and I am Adamant Life Orb, so definitely a defensive Keldeo. I'm gonna Slowbro here, not wanting to risk the Skull Burn, as keeping E-Speed Lucario around is going to be nice late game for the Manectric and the Latios, so didn't want to sack it off there to a potential Skull Burn when I do have Latias and Slowbro waiting in the wings. So I get Latias in on a Protect, which is pretty nice, and now I can Mega Evolve, and I know he's going to switch out, not wanting to risk me setting up or something of that nature. So I just go for the Roost here, wanting to get back to a little bit of health, knowing that the Scarf Jump 2 wasn't Scarf because he set up rocks and attack my Slowbro. Like, I knew he wasn't a Scarf variant, and if anything he was going to sack it off, so I lost nothing by healing up there, as I could outspeed him the next turn and take him out. So Scar Jump goes down, he's a Yachi Berry, but he's obviously a range of health where he's irrelevant. And now Manectric comes in, he goes for the Snarl here, so very interesting play. He's got the Snarl, which is a cool green. What I want out of this is to be at an amount of health where I can still sort of take hits from the Keldeo reasonably well. I don't want to continually attack him and be left at like 30 and be forced to heal up as soon as the Keldeo comes in. But the fact that I'm getting my stats dropped this much means that I am going to have to switch out anyway versus the Keldeo. I want it to be at a highest range of health possible regardless. So he just keeps snarling as we continue healing up to a point where I can come in pretty healthy, as he now fires off the HP Ice. As I set up a Reflect here, just wanting to get to a high amount of health. The Reflect play looks kind of strange, and it is. The Reflect play looks quite strange. I think I actually misclicked during the game. Either that or I was trying to make him waste. I was trying to waste the turn. So I didn't want to damage him. I wanted to waste a turn so I could get back to a reasonable amount of health with the Roost, capitalize on Roost recovery. I think that could have been a misclick though. This game happened a couple of weeks ago, but regardless, I do just take him out there with the Ice Beam. As in comes the threat, and now I can go out to my Pillar Swine right here, as he calm lines up with Laddie, and this is where Pillar Swine's special defense investment is going to come in clutch. He's going to fire off an energy ball, and we live that +1 energy ball pretty handily, and we can now take out the Laddie with the Icicle Spear combo. So had I got like a 3-turn roll or even a 2-turn, I think Ice Shard would have killed the next turn regardless, as Ice Shard is like 40 base power as opposed to 15, which is from Icicle Spear. So Pillar Swine really coming in clutch. Had I got the Icicle Spear damage off, got like a 2-roll, 3-roll, something, and he switched out to Keldeo to preserve Laddie for late game, I had E-Speed Lucario in the back, so wasn't too worried about Laddie at that point. Getting that Icicle Spear off was all I needed, even if I had got like 2 rolls, for example. So now in comes Keldeo, as this thing's looking like a threat. I'm just going to go out to my Mega Laddie, no point sacking Pillar Swine there, as the differential is, could be important in this season. And I am trying to, beat my previous season differential records, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. He just goes for the sub right here. So we're going to start off with this long end game. I'm going to start skipping turns because it does go on for quite a while. I'm just going to start essentially going for HP fighting versus this Keldeo trying to break its sub, roosting up, forcing it to continue subbing to a point where it can no longer sub and wasting all of its scalds. So we're going to skip. So because I'm not invested in special attack, my hidden power fightings did kill Bishop, but it doesn't break this bulky max HP Keldeo sub. So that only does 18% to the Keldeo when its sub isn't up, so that's fine though. Like I have more than enough hidden power fightings to continue forcing it to sub up, and I can continue roosting off the skull damage, pivoting out to slow bro if I get desperate and need to, preserve my roosts. He starts firing off toxics here, realizing that I'm trying to stall him out of skulls, and the thing is, if the second I stall him out of protects, the second he no longer has any protects left, then Slowbro wins, because I can start side shocking him. He can sub up all he wants, but eventually he'll get to a point of health where he can no longer sub, and side shock will take him out. But that's actually that's not going to turn out to be what ends up happening, because Laddie will eventually force this Keldeo to be at a range of health where it can no longer sub. As you guys can see, 2 hidden power fightings are going to take out a sub, and its skull is not going to do nearly enough to me to take me out. So you guys are going to see next turn we do break the sub, and he can no longer substitute at this point. This turn I can roost up because I know he can't sub. Best he can do is Scald, which he does, so that's a good play on his part. And now I can HP fighting, forcing him to a range of health where he can no longer sub once more, and take him out the next turn with a final HP fighting. So that is the match versus Noah. I hope you guys were able to survive this this battle. It was long, it was kind of lame and boring in certain parts, but it's what we have to do. It was a very, very good set by Noah. Definitely props for the good set. It was effective, definitely effective versus my team. So, but I played the way I needed to beat that Keldeo set, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. So, I hope my narration wasn't too bad. I know I probably sound really nasally and sick, but I'm getting better. I'm pretty much over it. It's just kind of the last home stretch of it. So, hope it wasn't too bad. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for week 3. We have week 3 coming up. Week 3 we take on. Who do we take on? So week 3 we take on Connor, who's one of the new guys, apparently really good, and he's actually a guy in my division, so that's pretty cool. Our first divisional match. Getting a win over him will put us in a pretty great spot in our division, if possible, but nothing's ever promised in the game of Pokemon and in Draft League, where everyone's pretty good. So definitely should be an exciting one. Hope you guys are looking forward to it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, and let me know what you guys thought of the team and the battle in the comments. And if you guys aren't subscribed to my channel and would like to see more Draft League content, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you next time.